Hey guys, this is Heroic Flamingo and welcome to my Guild Wars 2 class guide for the Firebrand. So in this video I'm going to be looking at the Firebrand's exclusive weapon and all of the weapon skills that gives you, and then I'll be looking at the unique healing, utility and elite skills for the Firebrand. Then I'll be having a look at how the Firebrand completely changes the base profession mechanics for the Guardian, and then I'll be having a look at the actual specialization for the Firebrand, looking at each individual trait and how that makes you even more powerful. So if you're interested in playing as a Firebrand, or if you already are and you want to know more, then sit tight and we'll get started right now. Okay, so before we go into the detail, I just wanted to give you a quick profession overview for the Firebrand. So the Firebrand is the second elite specialization for the Guardian, and it's unlocked in the Path of Fire expansion. These zealous lawkeepers are skilled in conjuring magical fire, and they use axes and mantras in close combat. Their virtues are replaced by conjured tomes, which act as weapons to rebuke enemies and protect allies. So basically you've got a new type of skill called mantras, you've got a new weapon that you can use for the Guardian, and that's axes. We're going to look at all of that, and then also finally your profession mechanics are completely changed to the base Guardian. It replaces your virtues with these new tome abilities, which gives you a whole new set of skills to use, and so we'll be looking at all of that in this video. So let's get started right now with the weapon skills. Alright, so one of the main things released with the Firebrand Elite Specialization is the ability to use an axe in the main hand. So I've equipped an axe right now, which gives us our 3 new unique skills. So we're going to have a look at all 3 of those one by one, have a look at what they do, and then give a little demonstration of them as well. So let's have a look at your number 1 ability here. So this is a chain ability, which means you have to do all of them in a row for it to have maximum damage. So you should be familiar with those by now, I would have thought. So let's just give a quick little look at it. So the first one is Core Cleave, and then Bleeding Edge, and then Searing Slash. So the first one, cleave at your enemy with a physical and magical axe. The second one, slice through your foe again, physically and magically, as your weapon is heating up. And the last one, unleash your searing axe in an overhand slash, following up with a magical edge. So you're going to cleave at them, you're going to slice them, and then you're going to unleash your searing axe at the end. As you can see, the first 2 do bleeding, and then the third one's going to do burning. So we're going to put stacks of bleeding on them, stacks of burning, so it's going to be doing a ton of damage over a few seconds as well as, you know, the actual original impact as well. It's range 130, so it's melee range, so you've got to get up close and personal with this weapon, so you won't be able to stand at a distance. But obviously the Guardian, or the Firebrand in this case, is pretty tanky, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's demonstrate this number 1 ability now. Cleave, smash, and as you can see, look, this searing axe is attacking with it. I'm putting stacks of burning, stacks of bleeding on the enemy. So it's a really good ability, just with the initial damage as well as the damage over time that it's stacking up as well. So that's a really cool chain ability there. So obviously make sure you let the chain play out as well, so it does the maximum amount of damage. Try not to interrupt it midway through, because a lot of the damage and the conditions are sort of weighted towards the end of the chain, so do bear that in mind. Your number 2 ability here on the axe, Symbol of Vengeance. Okay, so this is a symbol ability. So this is cleave your axe into the ground, reducing enemy movement and carving a razor sharp symbol of vengeance. So you're going to hit your axe into the ground, cast a symbol on the floor. So as you can see, it's a radius of 180 around you, targets up to 3 people, and it's going to reduce the enemy's movement, so it's going to make them slow, and obviously it's going to do damage as well. As you can see, puts Fury on you, increases your critical chance, and does bleeding damage as well. So there's quite a few cool effects that it does there, and it's going to do it to everyone in a radius around you. So obviously if you're in melee range, you're surrounded by enemies, you're going to go like this, you're going to whack down your symbol, and everyone in this area, you can see, look at all those effects. Cripple, bleeding, and obviously burning along with your virtues as well. So that's really good. So that's going to do quite a lot of different effects there. So you know, you might want to stick that down, and then while that's crippling all the enemies, you can whack down a bunch of AoE abilities as well while they're there as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. So your number 3 ability, Blazing Edge. So conjure a magical axe to rake your enemies towards you. So this is a pull ability. It can be done from 600 range, and you can see the pull is 600. So if you're mid-range to someone, you can pull them all the way to you, and it can target up to 3 people, which is pretty cool. And it also does a bit of damage and causes burning. So quite a few different things there. It's just going to rake your enemies towards you. So let's give an example. So we should be able to do it from this range. So if I do this, There you go. So it pulls the enemies towards me. So it can do a group of enemies, so you can pull them towards you, and so maybe do the number 3, pull them towards you, do number 2 to whack down your symbol, and then you can hit with your number 1 to do a bit of damage. So all of those together make a pretty good weapon, and then obviously you've still got a couple of abilities there, so you can pair it with a decent offhand there as well, and that could be a really good weapon set for your build. So that's the new weapon skills looked at. So the next thing I want to look at is the new and exclusive healing skill. Alright, so like all elite specializations, the Firebrand adds a brand new healing skill. So let's try that out. So this is going to be our first look at the new type of skills we can use here, and these are mantra skills. So let's give this a little look. So what we've got here is Mantra of Solace. So what you have to know about mantra skills is basically you charge up a mantra in advance, so you sort of do it before you go into combat, and then you get like an ammo skill. So in this one you can see number of casts is free, so you'll power up the mantra, so prepare to heal yourself and grant allies Aegis, that is, so the final charge of this ability is more powerful. So you can see here the first 2 casts of it will be Restoring Reprieve, so gain health, grant Aegis to you and allies in front of you and around you. So as you can see, you've got a self heal there. It's gonna give you Aegis to allies and yourself, to all your allies near you, in front of you and around you as well. So you can target up to 5 allies. Charge recovery is 12 seconds there. So the charges do come back, so that's pretty cool. And then that will be the first couple of casts, and then if you're using your final charge, as you can see at the bottom, you've got final charge, Rejuvenating Respite. So gain significant health. Grant Aegis to you and allies before and beside you. So you're going to be granted Aegis once again. So there'll be a lot of blocking going on here. So it's not just the healings taken into account. You're actually going to be losing a lot less health because you and your allies are all going to be getting a lot of Aegis, a lot of blocking going on there. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show this off now just to demonstrate what it looks like. So if I press it once, as you see, it takes a couple of seconds. You can still move around when you do it. It's going to power it up. So now you see I've got a 3 there. So this is a charge ability. So if I use it once, bam, it's going to heal it, and you can see it's starting to recharge. Use it once more. But if I can let it recharge to another one of the less powerful one, but if I press it now, bam, it's going to do my big powerful one. Then it's actually going to go on cooldown. Alternatively, if you don't need the big heal, then maybe you can leave it on and then it will start recharging the smaller heals. But obviously you've got it there, so you can press it bang at the end if you need a big heal. The only annoying thing about that, I suppose, if you go into combat and you haven't charged it up, and you're taking a lot of damage, it's going to take you a little while before you can actually heal. You're going to have to charge up the mantra, you have to quickly smack the 2 first ones and then the 3rd one until you get the big heal. So do be careful with that. It can be a little bit frustrating, but it's pretty cool there, and if used properly, it can be a really good part of your build. So that's the new healing skill. So now I want to have a look at the brand new utility skills for the Firebrand. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the utility skills for the Firebrand. So if we click here, we can see along the top we've got 4 brand new abilities just by choosing this elite specialization. These are all these are all mantra abilities. So we'll try these out now. So let me just choose the first few here, and then we'll do the last one afterwards. Alright, so bear with me here. We need to obviously look at what the main ability is and then what the final charge is as well. So this is Mantra of Potence. So recite a hymn from the Annals of Teray to hasten yourself and allies. Okay, so we've got 3 casts with this one as well, so it's an ammo skill 3, and you've got Potent Haste, which is inspire allies before and beside you, enhancing their speed and strength. So it gives them might and quickness, so they're going to use their skills faster and they're going to do more damage and condition damage. So that's really good as well. So you're basically buffing everyone around you, making them more powerful. It can target up to 5 allies. It takes 12 seconds to recover that charge. So you can use that twice, and then obviously you can wait for it to recharge. Or if you want the more powerful spell, you can use the final charge instead, which is Overwhelming Celerity. So this is inspire allies before and beside you, greatly enhancing their speed and strength. So this is greatly. So this is going to be 4 seconds of quickness, and 8 stacks of might. So you can see that's giving quite a lot of condition damage and power. So if you really need that extra boost to finish off a boss or something, you can use that final charge. But obviously if you don't need that, then you can let it keep recharging and you'll keep using that there. So let's power this up. So a few seconds, got a little animation there to power it up. So we can see now we've got a number 3. So we're going to do, so bam, that's going to give us quickness, and obviously it's going to give us might as well. And then bam, I can use it again. And if I want final one, there you go. I've got a bunch of stacks of might there, 13 stacks. They're all added up, and then a lot of quickness there as well. So bear in mind, that's not just for yourself. So all these skills, you know, they're for your allies as well. So really, it's a group. If you're not in a group, then you're not going to really feel the full effect of those skills. So they might not be worth putting in your build. But in a group situation, they can be really good and make you a really good support character for the other allies, making you sort of invaluable really to the group. The second utility skill here is Mantra of Flame. So prepare a chant to sear your enemies. So your first skill here, so same as the other ones, 3 casts, and your first 2 casts are going to be unleash a wave of purging fire in front of and around you. So basically, a radius of 180 around you is going to be burning damage. You're going to set fire to everyone. So that sounds pretty cool. And then, obviously, even better, you've got your final charge if you want to use it. Unleash a powerful wave of flame, which is going to do even more damage and inflict burning on the enemy as well, hitting up to 5 targets. That's pretty cool then. So charge recovery is 12 seconds, so they all seem to be pretty consistent with that. So let's power this up, give it a go. We can do a bit of damage to these target golems. They've been having it too easy. Alright, so if we stand here, I'm not sure exactly how far it will go, but let's give it a go. So bam, there you go, not too far then. So sort of in front of you, bam, fire again, and then if I want to use this final charge, whoosh, there you go. So that's going to be a bigger one all around me. Bunch of stacks of burn in there, so it's doing quite a lot of damage. So that's a good one as well. So if you're, if you're melee range and you're quite close to enemies, you're not going to be able to do that from too far away. So you're going to want to be doing that. I mean, if you've got it with your axe, paired with that, then you can be using it as a melee weapon anyway. So that'd be pretty good in that situation. And then your final one here, you have Mantra of Truth. So this one, because I'm in combat, actually it's not showing me the bits after that. So we'll have a look. We'll charge it up and we'll have a look. So Mantra of Truth, prepare the tenets of truth to debilitate your foes. So let's charge this up. Boom. Right, so our first one that we can use here is it targets 5 enemies, recovery of 12 seconds, radius of 180 around us. So recount, so this is Echo of Truth. Recount a truth to enemies in front of and around you, inflicting them with conditions. This one's all about putting conditions on the enemies around you. So cripple, weakness, blindness, and it's all going to affect 5 targets around you. So this is pretty good if you want to be putting conditions on the enemies around you, to help take them down. So let's have a little look. And then we'll have a look at the third ability as well. So bam, bam, and then your third one here, Voice of Truth, your final charge. Reveal a harsh truth to enemies before and beside you, devastating them with conditions. So we can wait for that. We can see that that's recharged, so it's going back to Echo of Truth. So use that. Then we'll try this Voice of Truth ability here. Look, immobilize, blindness, weak vulnerability. Bam. So you can see, look at all those effects we've got on that enemy there. Loads of effects. So that's going to be on all the enemies around you. So that's going to be putting a lot of conditions on them. So that's a really powerful mantra to use. If utilised well, when you've got all the enemies around you, you can really affect them with that. Alright, so let's just try out the fourth and final utility skill here. So I'll swap this out for this last one here. Alright, so this one is Mantra of Law. So this is recite the ritual of cleansing, removing conditions and speeding recovery. So same as always, 3 casts, and the first 2 casts are opening passage. So recite a cleansing word, purifying allies of conditions and helping them recover. So look, as you can see, we're taking conditions away, we're putting health regen on them. You can target up to 5 allies in a radius of 180 around you. So that's pretty cool. So obviously it's going to help keep allies around you alive. So it's a real support. If you're playing a support role, this is the sort of skill you're going to want. And then your final charge, if you use that, is recite the concluding passage, converting corruption into enhancements for your allies and aiding them in recovery. So basically it's just a bigger version of what it was already doing. You can see there it's giving you 10 1/4 seconds of regen, quite a lot of healing, and conditions converted to boons as well. So it's pretty good, and it's going to help all of the allies around you. So in a group situation, that's going to be really good. So let's just give a little demonstration of this. Obviously, it's not going to damage the enemies, so we don't need to do it near them. But as always, power up our mantra. We've got our 3 charges, and then we go, boom. There you go, allies, helping them, and then your final one, bam. It's just a bigger version. Really good skill there. So you're going to be I've got health regen, a lot of health regeneration, lasting quite a while, and that's going to be on all of the allies around you. So that's really going to help keep everyone alive. So if you're playing this build, if you're playing as a Firebrand in a group, then your allies are going to be like very thankful, because obviously there's so many really good support abilities that you can use as well. So that is all of the new utility skills for Firebrand. So now I want to have a look at the brand new and exclusive elite skill. Okay, so now I want to have a look at the exclusive elite skill for the Firebrand. So this is going to be an elite mantra. So this is going to be interesting to see how they actually do an elite mantra. So this will be pretty cool. Alright, so the first thing here, so it's called Mantra of Liberation. So echo remnants of an ancient pamphlet from Vabi that urged Alonians to freedom. Grant stability and swiftness to allies while breaking stun. Alright, so it's the same as the other one, so it's still, you can power it up and you can use free cast. So it's pretty cool, it's quite accessible for a elite skill. Normally, you use it once and you have to wait a minute and a half till it comes back. So let's have a little look then. So you've got Portent of Freedom. So hints of freedom echo around, stabilizing and breaking stuns on you and your allies. So this is the one that you can use a couple of times. The recharge time is 45 seconds to be fair, so it is quite a long time to wait for that to come back. As you can see, stability to you and your allies, so you can't be knocked down or stunned or anything like that, and retaliation as well, so you're reflecting incoming damage, so it's helping you survive and stopping you from having the effects on you as well, but not just you, your allies as well. So always bear in mind, it's in a radius around you, so as long as you've got your allies quite close to you, you're going to be able to do that. And you see it also breaks stun as well, so there's an extra little thing there. And then if you do get to the point where you want to use your final charge, then you're going to have Unhindered Delivery. So your whispers guard your allies, stabilizing and breaking stuns on them while weakening enemies. So this is quite a more powerful effect here. You've got retaliation for 5.5 seconds, so 5.25 seconds. You've got stability for 4 seconds, and then you've got swiftness, which is 33% movement speed increase for 5.25 seconds as well. So it's like an extra thing there, so you're going to break stuns on them and you're going to be weakening enemies as well, so it's going to have a negative effect on enemies as well, so that's pretty cool. So let's have a little look at how this is going to work. So obviously, as always, bam, there you go, and you've got this cool little bell symbol down here, so if you want to ring that at any point, bam, there you go. That's going to help your allies once again, and then your final one, bosh, there you go, you can do that as well. And then you have got, a 60-second cooldown there if you use all the charges as well. So like with all elite skills, it does take a while, but it's going to have quite a good effect. So obviously, it's maybe not the most exciting elite skill, but it's a real support skill, like a lot of the stuff with the Firebrand. So in a group situation, it really can be even better than like a devastating damage spell, because you really buff your allies, stop them from being knocked down, make them quicker, make them reflect incoming damage, break stun. It's a lot of things that it does there, all in one skill. So that can be really effective. So that's the exclusive elite skill for the Firebrand. So now I want to have a look at the profession mechanics and have a look at how it completely overhauls the base Guardian. Okay, so now I want to have a look at the profession mechanics for the Firebrand. So the Firebrand completely overhauls the basic mechanics for the Guardian, completely changing it. So unlike the first elite spec for the Guardian, the Dragon Hunter, which just builds on what's already good about the Guardian, the Firebrand does completely change it. So there's quite a lot to get into right now, so it will take me a little bit just to show you all of this, but it will be definitely worth it, so you're going to want to watch this. So you're probably familiar, obviously you've got the 3 virtues along here, which you're used to having, so that's what you expect, and they do all have a passive effect. So like a Signet, they have a passive and an active effect. So the passive is actually the same as the base Guardian. So your first one makes it so you burn foes every few attacks. So every few attacks you're going to be putting burning on the enemy to obviously up your damage a little bit. The second one, you're going to be regenerating health you know, continuously. So this helps your survivability, makes you more tanky, and helps you just stay alive. And then your third one is that you gain Aegis periodically, which, you know, allows you to block attacks. So every 40 seconds or so, it's going to give you Aegis, which is going to help you block the next incoming attack. So that's all pretty standard, and you're probably thinking, alright, so what's actually changed? You know what I mean? That's all the same. And you can see those passive effects sitting there. Well, this is what's changed. These are now become tomes. So you've got Tome of Justice, Tome of Resolve, and Tome of Courage. So what I'm going to show you now, when you activate these virtues, you're going to equip a tome that replaces all 5 of your weapon skills. And that is different for every single one of these 3 tomes. So that's 15 new weapon skills. So that's what I'm saying. Obviously, I'm going to have to go through all of that now and show you. So that might take a minute, but really worth having a look at. So the first one, Tome of Justice. The activate ability is pull forth a magical tome on the dangers of the blazing heat in corner. Each tome skill use consumes a page. So that's quite important. So I'll show you that now. So basically, if I press F1, bam, I'm going to pull this out. Really cool animation. Got these pages flying around me. I don't have to worry because there's no time limit on this. It's all done by the tome pages. So that's absolutely fine. It gives us time to have a look at these individual skills. So the way that the tomes work, just before I show you the actual skills, is that each one of these uses 1 tome page. And once you've used all 5 tome pages, so you've used any 5 of these skills, then the tome will run out and you'll have a cooldown. So as you can see, it's got a 40-second cooldown, which isn't too bad. And while it's like with normal virtues, while it's on cooldown, you won't have the passive effect, you'll see, and you haven't got the passive effect either at the moment while we've got this active, so do bear that in mind. But it does give you quite a lot of extra stuff you can do. Alright, so I'll show you, I'll go through each one and I'll show you all of them, because obviously you've got 5 tome skills, so you can use all 5 of these, but obviously if there's a particular one you want to use, you could use that multiple times. So your first skill on the Tome of Justice is Chapter 1, Searing Spell. So fueled by tales of the desolation in Istan, incite a great swelling of heat before you. So this can target up to 5 people, 600 range, so mid-range, and puts burning and does burning on the enemies and does some damage. Let's watch this, shall we? So boom, there you go. Shoots out flames at the enemy, and as we can see, we've now got 4 out of 5 tome pages left. So we're 1/5 of the way to using up this tome. Your second ability, Chapter 2, Igniting Burst. So ignite the air around you in an expanding burst. You can see there we've got burning, we're going to put on the enemy, weakness, a bit of damage, and it targets up to 5 people. This one is a radius of 240 around you, so you don't target the enemy, you have to be standing close to them. So as a demonstration, let's stand close to this guy and hit our number 2 ability. Bam! There you go. The animations are really cool on this as well. We can see we put the conditions on them as well. So that's another really cool one. Your number 3, so this is the ground target ability. So Chapter 3, Heated Rebuke. Call forth a heated vortex to collapse your enemies together. So this is a pull ability, so that's going to pull them towards your the where you put the target down. Basically, it can affect up to 5 enemies within a radius of 240, and it pulls them into it. So perhaps you could use this to pull them into somewhere where you or one of your allies is going to stick some AoE abilities. So you can utilise that pretty well. So let's see, I can probably get it so I put both of these here. Stick this in. Bam, there you go. It sucks them in. Obviously the target columns go back to their original location, but you see what I mean. Pretty cool effect there as well. It's all based around flames, as you can see, obviously the heat of corner, and it pulls the enemies in, and you can obviously integrate that into your build. You know, there's a lot of skills to think about here, so obviously, you know, you're going to want to have a little, if you want to play as a Firebrand, you know, you're going to have to learn these skills, so it might take a little bit of time, but you could really, you know, there's a lot that you can put into your build, as there's a lot of skills to work with here. Your number 4 ability here, Chapter 4, Scorched Aftermath. So detail the suffering in fire and blood inflicted during Babby's occupation. So you've got a little history lesson of a loner here as well while you're doing it. That's quite interesting. So bleeding and burning on the enemy. This one is a radius around you. Let's give this a go. So if I target this enemy here, use my number 4 ability. Bam, there you go. It's a big radius around you. Look, having a good effect on all the enemies. bleeding, burning on all of them, and damage, pulsing. So that's a really powerful effect with a nice big radius there as well. So that's going to be a really good one to put into your build. And you can see we've got one tome page left. So we can use this epilogue. Ashes of the Just. Recall the memory of fallen heroes, granting allies the searing blades of justice. So this is going to affect all allies around us, and it's going to give them the searing blades of justice. So it's Ashes of the Just for 10 seconds. Your next strike burns with justice. You see that's got 3 stacks, I think. So your next few strikes are going to inflict burning on the enemy. But not just you, your allies as well. So up to 5 allied targets within a radius of 600 of you. So obviously, let me demonstrate this. Bam, another cool effect. Nice, so you've got that. As we can see, we've got might on us there, and we've got these Ashes of Just. So if I start hitting the enemy, bam, there you go. Look at all that burning we're sticking on the enemy there. Real good stacks of that, doing a lot of damage over time, and that's going to be you and your allies. So once again, making it a really good support build. As you can see, as soon as we use that 5th page, it's put the tome away and it's put it on that 40-second cooldown. So it's not too long till it comes back, but obviously we're not going to have our passive effect while this cooldown's going on. So that's pretty cool though. So that's our fast look at a tome. So I'm going to look at the other 2 tomes as well. So you can use them straight away. It's only that one that's on cooldown, so you can go straight from that one to this one. You can also, as you see, I can put it away. I don't have to use all of the pages. I can press F2 again to stow my tome. But do bear in mind that that will still put it on your normal cooldown. So to be honest, you're probably going to want to utilise all of your pages if you can. I can also swap to a different tome. I don't have to put it away and put another one. So if I pressed F1, it'd swap to that tome. But once again, it would put this tome on cooldown. So you probably want to utilise all the pages first. So let's have a look. So the first one here, you got Chapter 1, Desert Bloom. So Tales of Desert Blooms create a wave of healing for your allies. So this one is going to do a wave, and it's going to heal allies in a range of 600 and up to 5 allied targets. So if I just try that out, the animation, boom. It's a bit like the last one, but the first tome was about damage. This is about healing. So that's going to heal your allies. So this is a real good support tome, this one. Chapter 2, Radiant Recovery. So release magic from pages detailing the rebuilding of Vabi, cleansing conditions on nearby allies. Allies are healed for each condition removed. So there you go, conditions removed. You've got a healing per condition removed there. You can target up to 5 allies. So let's have a look at that. Boom, really cool, jump and spin. Really good animations on this as well, which do make it better to look at. And that's going to help remove conditions and heal allies. Chapter 3, Azure Sun. Inspired by countless poems describing the comforting powers of the water-reflected sun, grant boons to allies. This is a ground targeted ability that's going to grant boons to allies. So you've got Vigor, you've got Regen, you've got Swiftness, up to 5 allies. Radius of 240. It doesn't have to be on you either. It's a ground targeted ability with a 900 range, so I could, the allies over here, I can stick it on them. But if I put it on myself, gosh, there you go, really cool animation. And look, we've got all of these here, and all of our allies will have those buffs as well. So that's a really cool one that you can use to buff your allies. Chapter 4, Shining River. Release a torrent of pages describing the water cycle of the Elon River. Heal allies and grant them swiftness. So, you know, another one for healing allies. So, once again, really good for support. And then swiftness as well, so it's going to make them move quicker. It's going to pulse 5 times with a radius of 360. So let's give this a little go. Boom, there you go. Big radius around us here. We can move around inside it. Healing everyone in that area. Really good effect. If you're surrounded by allies and they're all fighting enemies, that's just going to help keep them alive. So that's excellent. So last page here. So Epilogue. Eternal Oasis. Purify your allies with the waters of Amnoon and increase the healing they receive. So as you can see, conditions converted to boons to target up to 5 things. We can, and then for 8 seconds we're increasing heal effectiveness. So if you're whacking out this tome, you probably want to, if you want to heal your allies, you probably want to use this one first to increase the healing effectiveness on all your allies, and then you can whack out your healing skills, and they'll be 20% more effective. So it just makes that healing even better. Let's just have a look at this animation here. We're going to put our tome away when we use it, but boom, there you go. Cool little Oasis one there. And as you can see, it's increased the healing effectiveness. So if I use a healing skill now, it's going to make that even more powerful. So let's look at the final one here. We've got Tome of Courage. So conjure a mystic tome containing stories about the heroes of Istan. Lovely. So let's pull this one out as well. Really cool. Elite spec, this is really cool. So our number one here, Chapter 1, Unflinching Charge. So roused by tales of mythical sun spear charges, ground and motivate allies before you. So this is going to grant stability and swiftness to allies around. It's just to stop them from being knocked down and make them quicker as well. Range 600 and allied targets 5. So if I press that, number 1, boom, there you go. That's going to shoot that out, and that's going to make them run faster, and also they're going to get stability as well. Number 2, so Chapter 2, Daring Challenge. As the tales recount of Teray, taunt your enemies by issuing an insightfully inciting challenge. Interesting turn of phrase there. So this is going to taunt, so involuntarily attack foes, and retaliation, reflect incoming damage back to its source. We're going to get our enemies to involuntarily attack, and a bit of damage, radius around you. So let's just try this out now. Boom, there you go. As you can see, that puts that effect on them there. Cool little animation as well. Number 3, you got ground target. You got Chapter 3, Valiant Bulwark. So manifest the shimmering purity of the desert sun, reflecting enemy missiles. So this one, duration 5 seconds, radius on the floor, reflects missiles. So like the radius is wherever you put it. So if I stick this down here, nice animation there, reflecting all projectiles. Lovely little bubble for you and your allies, just helping protect you. If you've got some heavy projectiles coming in, you can use that to protect you and your allies. Chapter 4, Stalwart Stand. Recount the stand of Alonian loyalists against Palawa Joko, granting resistance to your allies. So this is going to look, so resistance conditions currently on you are ineffective, stacks duration. So that's going to buff all your allies there. Pulses 3 times with an interval of 1 second, with a radius of 360 around you. So you're going to want to do this when you're relatively close to your close to your allies, and bam, there you go. Look at that. That is one lovely animation there as well. I think this elite spec's worth it just for the animations, guys. Look at these pages flying around me, so majestic. So our final one here, almost at the end of this professional mechanics here, you've got Epilogue, Unbroken Lines. Recalling the memory of heroes past, enchant nearby allies with formidable defences. So there you go, Unbroken Lines. So you're going to increase all allies' toughness by 200, making them harder to kill. Give them protection, minus 33% incoming damage. So even harder to kill. Stability, stopping them from getting knocked down and stunned and everything. And Aegis, blocking the next incoming attack. So this is a really good one for buffing the allies around you. It's a radius of 600, so it's a big old radius as well around you. So it's going to, I'll demonstrate that now what that looks like, but it's going to be a big one there. So bam, there you go. Everyone around you is going to have that effect. Look, all those buffs. So that's really good. So that's a really good one to use in the support role as well. So that's all of the tomes. So that's all 3 of them. You see, the first one was more about doing damage. The second one was more about healing. The third one was more about defense and buffs and support and stuff like that. So those are 3 things that you can really integrate into your build. Like I said, whole new 15 skills to learn there. So it may take a little while, but it is a really interesting build. So that's the professional mechanics. So now I want to have a look at the elite specialization for the Firebrand. Look at each individual trait and see how that can make you even more powerful. Alright, so now I wanted to have a quick look at the elite specialization for the Firebrand and the individual traits, just to see how you can customize your character even more, making them very powerful. So here, just by having this on your bar here, the Firebrand, you've got axe proficiency, so you can now wield axes, and then this also here, so gain knowledge of Alonian lore, igniting a fierce drive to purge corruption and manifesting your virtues as mystic tomes, and also gain access to mantras. So that's all we've been through all of that already. So that's just the passive stuff that you get just from having this on your bar. So let's have a look at some of these choices we have. So you've got unrelenting criticism. So axe skills gain a chance to inflict bleeding. Symbol of vengeance now dazes on its initial strike. So if you're going to be using axes, you know, your axe weapon, which is obviously your unique one for the Firebrand, you're going to probably want this because it's going to make your skills inflict bleeding as well, and make your symbol of vengeance better as well. So Liberator's Vow. grant allies quickness when you use your heal skill. So you know, it makes your heal even better. So when you use that, it's going to give them quickness for 5 allies within a radius around you. Quickness meaning they can use their skills and actions faster. And then Archivist of Whispers. Your virtues gain additional pages. So this is really cool. So this gives you 3 additional charges. So if you're using your tomes a lot, then, you know, instead of 5, you're going to have 8 pages. So that's really cool. So that's something that you might want to consider if you're using those a lot. You've got Swift Scholar. Equipping or stowing a virtue grants you quickness. So if you're coming in and out of your tomes quite a lot there, then, you know, you're going to be giving yourself quickness as well, so you can let off a couple of skills really quickly. So that's nice, and that's just a passive one, so you'll get that effect. Weighty Terms. The final charge of your mantra skills inflict immobilize. Mantras gain reduced charge recovery time. So if you're using a lot of mantras, you've got a lot of those in your build, then you're probably going to want this, because it's going to make your final charge of your mantra even better by immobilizing the enemy and also reducing your recovery time as well. So that's really good. So Stalwart Speed. When you grant Aegis or stability, grant quickness. So obviously you're giving Aegis and stability all the time with this build. So if you're adding quickness on top of that, that's just going to make you even better as a support role. Legendary Lore. Tome skills gain bonus from scribbling in the margins by ancient bards. So that's pretty cool there. So this is basically making your tome skills even better. So as you can see, your first one there, your F1, burning, so 10% condition duration. Your second one, you've got extra regen. Your third one, extra protection. Basically just making your tomes even better. Just you know, specific effects relevant for each tome there. So Imbued Haste. Gain increased attributes while affected by quickness. So obviously we have quite a lot of things here that, you know, like we said, we looked at that. It's going to give you quickness a lot of the time. So this is going to increase your attributes while you've got quickness as well. So this is going to stack on top of that extra condition damage, extra healing power, extra vitality. And here you've got Stoic Demeanor. Inflict burning and slow on foes you disable or immobilize. So once again, if you're using those effects on people, then you're just going to have those extra things on it as well. So just stacking on those conditions. You've got Quick Fire. So granting quickness to an ally also grants Ashes of the Just. Obviously we're giving quickness all the time. Ashes of the Just was the one we said your next strike burns with justice. So effectively it means that they're going to be setting someone on fire with their next attack. So really cool there. And finally, Lawmaster. Tome skills gain reduced recharge. Retain virtues passes while they're on cooldown. Alright, that's really good actually, because obviously one of the things I kept saying was when you've used your tome and they're on cooldown, you know, you don't have the passive anymore, so it's a bit of a downside, but this is going to mean that you actually do keep that. So that's really interesting. If you're using your tomes a lot, you're really going to want to use this trait. Some of these traits really are helping quite a lot. And look, you've got your reduced recharge as well, making it even better. So those are all the individual traits for the Firebrand Elite Specialization. So what I'm going to do now, the final thing, I'm going to throw together a quick little Firebrand build, give you a nice combat demonstration, and then that'll be it. Alright, so I've thrown together a quick little Firebrand build here. So I've got the exclusive main hand axe here with a nice little offhand focus to go with it. And then I've got the ye old trusty greatsword here, which is a bit of a must-have for the Guardian. And here I've stuck a bunch of mantras. I mean, you're not actually going to have your build set up quite like this. You can't have that many mantras on a bar. But, you know, I just wanted to try out the skills exclusively for them. So before you go in, you're probably going to want to power up all your mantras. So I'll do that first. And then we'll do a little combat demonstration here, just so we can see what all these skills look like when we link them all together. Here we go. Alright, so that showed off a lot of the cool new abilities that you get there, as well as all of your tome abilities there with the Firebrand. So I think that pretty much covers everything for the Firebrand. So if you have any more questions regarding it, obviously just leave it in the comments. And if you want to see detailed guides on any more of the elite specializations or classes, check out my channel, because I'm bringing out one like this for all of them. And I've also got a video on there which gives a more basic overview of every single elite spec and class in one video, just so it's in a easier to watch format maybe. So thanks for watching guys, like and subscribe to be kept up to date, and I'll be back soon with plenty more content. See you later.